People with disabilities are people with the same needs, dreams, and desires as everyone else. Having a disability means having an impairment or a limitation of some bodily function. It may also mean the person is limited in participating in some activity because of environmental factors. Here's an example of a product that is labeled by telling you what is not in the container. We often label people with disabilities by what they can't do. It is much more important to recognize what they can do. Knowing what people with disabilities can do, and knowing what activities and tasks they would like to accomplish, we can ask the question, what if? Answering the question, what if, often leads to the development of technology and devices that make use of people with disabilities skills in order to enable them to be independent and participate in activities and in their communities. This kind of technology is called assistive technology. The term assistive technology device means any item, piece of equipment, or product system, whether acquired commercially, modified, or customized, that is used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities of individuals with disabilities. As human beings, we all have the need to get from one place to another. We often walk to where we want to go. Some people need the assistance of a cane to walk. Others need a bit more assistance and use crutches. Woo! People who have had one or both legs amputated benefit from using one or two prosthetic legs. The future holds many opportunities for developing devices that will assist people to walk, including things called exoskeletons.
I feel normal, I stand and I feel tall. It's fantastic for me. So I like learn about a bicycle. First it's hard, and after that it's easy.
Hey, fantastic.
I want to tell you about my daughter. First time he say me to stand, he tell me, "Father, you're tall."
Not being able to walk does not keep people from getting from one place to another. Wheelchairs have long provided a means for people to use their arms to get around. Manual wheelchair technology has come a long way from the days of wooden wheelchairs. New materials like titanium make wheelchairs extremely strong and yet very light. Powered wheelchairs were first developed to assist those who had difficulty using a manual wheelchair. The first powered wheelchairs were simply manual wheelchairs with motors added to drive the wheels. Switches controlled the speed and direction of this wheelchair. Powered wheelchairs now have computerized motor drives and enable people to get around in all kinds of environments. While the most common control for a powered wheelchair is the joystick, there are a number of other types of controls that enable people to control their wheelchairs with the functional abilities they have. These controls include sip and puff, which enables the user to blow and sip into a tube to control the wheelchair, chin or head control, tongue control, and maybe sometime soon just being able to think about where you want the chair to go. Even very young children have the need to get from one place to another. Motorized carts and even wheelchairs based on Wii technology can provide children the mobility they need to grow and learn. New wheelchair designs are being developed all the time. Some, like the iBot, have the capability of balancing on two wheels to raise the user to standing eye level. New concepts for wheelchairs, like those of Jake Eady of Australia, may completely change the way we think wheelchairs should look like and how they should function. When you need to go someplace that is too far for walking, you usually drive there in a car. People with disabilities use assistive technology devices to drive cars. Sometimes they are as simple as levers to control the brake and acceleration pedal. However, they can be computer-controlled, enabling someone to drive a car or van with a joystick. When someone who uses a wheelchair drives a car or van, they need assistive technology in order to get in and out of the vehicle. This usually means a lift or ramp is installed on the vehicle. Activities of daily life are those tasks we often take for granted. Things like being able to feed ourselves, read a book, or pick things up from the floor. People with disabilities often use assistive technology devices to help perform many of these tasks in order to maintain their independence. Robotics hold a great deal of promise for assisting people with disabilities to perform many different tasks.
Where genius meets possibility. When Elaine Houston is armed with this amazing wheelchair, she's empowered to take on the kitchen.
It allows me to do things on my own independently.
It's the Personal Mobility and Manipulation Appliance, or PERMA. Elaine can control the chair with this joystick or ask an online assistant for help.
It's the little things that make the most impact.
Rory Cooper is leading PERMA's development at the National Science Foundation Quality of Life Technology Center. His goal, have the robot and the human work cooperatively.
We have a person there. There's not really any more intelligent machine available. Why not take advantage of that?
For the next generation of PERMA, they're going to work on a stronger arm. This one can only lift 4 pounds. It's kind of a weakling. Oh, sorry, didn't mean that.
I'm Miles O'Brien.
Being able to control the appliances and other devices in our environment is something else we take for granted. Being independent in turning on the TV, changing the channels, adjusting the sound, turning lights on and off, opening, closing, and locking doors, and adjusting the temperature in our house is very important to all of us. Through the use of what are known as electronic aids to daily living, or what are sometimes called environmental control systems, people with disabilities can have the same independence. What would we humans be if we couldn't communicate with each other? How would we express our needs and desires? How would we share our stories and experiences? We hardly think about our ability to talk to each other. For those people with disabilities who are unable to talk, assistive technology devices provide an answer. There are manual boards that are used simply by pointing the letters or words the person wants to express. Eye gaze systems enable people to look at letters to get their message across.
Please. adjust my arm. Okay. Focus. Put it down. Over this way. Okay. Okay. Great.
Many people use electronic devices to communicate. The devices are computer-based and usually have the ability to speak. Some of the new smartphones can be used as a communication device with the right app. Electronic communication devices can also be programmed to speak long sentences. Computers have become an essential part of life for most people. They enable us to do all kinds of things, like connect with other people through email, chatting, and even video conferencing, not to mention all the social networking sites like Facebook. We use them to do research and learn about all kinds of things. We also play games on our computers. People with disabilities have the same needs and desires to use computers. However, their way of accessing and using a computer may be different than using the regular keyboard, mouse, or monitor. Using various types of switches and special programs enable people to have full access to the computer. Sometimes special keyboards are used. Using voice recognition, some people can access their computer by simply talking to it. Someday, it will be possible to control computers and other devices through brain-computer interfaces. Just by thinking, you can make the computer do what you want it to do. People work for all kinds of reasons. Of course, making money is important so you can pay your bills, but many people have other reasons for performing the jobs they have. Some want to make the world a better place. Many people take pride in their knowledge and skills and want to demonstrate these things. Jobs offer people an outlet to develop their self-esteem. People with disabilities have jobs for all the same reasons. Many times they perform their jobs with accommodations to take advantage of their abilities. People with disabilities who have white-collar or office jobs typically use computers and might use some of the assistive technology devices already mentioned. But they might also need special workstations depending on their needs. Lazy Susans can be used to make it easier to reach things. Special chairs and reclining workstations might help someone with back pain to sit longer and more comfortably. Being able to change positions from sitting to standing enables some folks to work longer. Some people with disabilities have jobs that require them to use certain machines. Sometimes they have difficulty operating the standard controls of the machines. The machines can be modified to enable people with disabilities to operate them using the abilities they have. Here are examples of head controls being used to operate machines. Sometimes it's just a matter of holding workpieces in a certain way that enables people with disabilities to perform the necessary tasks of a job. Jigs can be used to assist people in counting objects, placing labels, determining the correct size, or correctly folding materials. Of course, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So, just as it is important for all of us to play, people with disabilities have a need for recreation. With appropriate assistive technology, there is very little people with disabilities can't do to enjoy themselves and experience the joys of so many activities. Adapted canoes and kayaks, sailboats, bicycles, and other recreational equipment enable people with disabilities to enjoy all kinds of recreation. Assistive technology provides people with disabilities with increasing opportunities for personal growth, fulfilling employment, a better quality of life, and the opportunity to do extraordinary things. Solutions and accommodations utilizing assistive technology always start with the question, what if?